Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the interim board meeting of the Board of School Directors of the School District of Springfield Township. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A reading of the mission statement. Ms. Lipinski, would you read it, please?
The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high-achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community.
Roll call, Mr. King.
Mr. Bedard. Here. Mr. Chapman. Here. Ms. Jordan. Here. Mr. Lapis. Ms. Nelson. Mr. Rayer. Here. Ms. Sarsfield. Here. Ms. Lipinski. Here. Dr. Taratesi.
Here. Announcements. The board at its discretion may videotape all or any portion of the public board meeting subject to the limitations set forth in Policy 006.2, broadcasting of meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following the board meeting. Are there any public comments on agenda items? Okay, seeing none. We'll have reports and information. We'll have the report from the Property Committee. Ms. Lipinski.
You're actually lucky enough to have two reports because we've had two meetings since I gave a report. So we did hold a Property Committee meeting on Thursday, December 6th. We got updates on the high school renovation and the Early Learning Center construction projects. At that time, it was still on track, on schedule, and on budget. We talked about custodial service. We had been talking about some revolving custodial issues we were having, so we're moving forward with looking at exploring alternative solutions. The Enfield property renovation, we wanted to develop a plan for the property needs to be completed by October 2019. And at that meeting, we recommended that an architect develop multiple options for location to present to the Property Committee. Our next Property Committee was held on Friday, January 25th. We again talked about our construction projects, and at that meeting, we had a presentation by the Schrader Group to discuss site options for the Enfield location. We saw some preliminary options. We also talked about some other ideas that the committee had. At that time, we talked that we would also open up the discussion with the athletic directors and building principals, and also to have a community meeting to show where we're thinking, what the options are, and to get some feedback from the community as well. We did have a motion to approve Schrader Group for the project design, and Huey Engineers for the construction management was requested. We got another update on the high school renovation and the Early Learning Center. Both projects are still on schedule, even with all of the rain we've been having. Both projects combined are still under the budget. The high school PennDOT HOP permit has incurred additional costs. That is what's holding up opening the new entrance by the field, by the stadium fields. The PennDOT has requested 8 additional items to be completed that we weren't expecting. So we do have a board motion for a change order to increase the funding for getting those items completed so we can get our permit. We also have a change order for the Early Learning Center. It was noted during the construction of the foundation walls, because of the slope of the hill, one of the foundation walls in all this rain has been taking on a lot of water, and it was decided that that wall probably should be waterproofed. So that change is being made, and there is a change order for that. And then also we talked about, we did see a lot of pictures of the construction site. Craig Thorne offered to give any on the board a tour of the construction sites if we would like to do that. So if any of you are interested, let me know and I'll coordinate with Craig and we'll see if we can get some walkthroughs. Finally, we discussed summer capital projects. We're on a 5-year facilities plan with our capital projects. Most of the summer projects are really things that are usually ongoing, replacing curbs, replacing concrete, doing some roofs, painting, nothing really too unexpected in our upcoming summer projects. And that is it. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Welcome.
And administrative reports, Dr. Hacker.
Thank you. I'll try to go through these rather quickly. But thank you, Mrs. Slapinski, for bringing up the fact that we did discuss some options for the disposition of the property at Enfield, where the Enfield School is located. You've all received the slide presentation that was presented and discussed at the Property Committee meeting. And as Gretchen mentioned, we will be scheduling a public meeting so that we can share those options publicly and solicit any ideas on those, as well as any other additional options we should be considering. Number 7 on tonight's agenda is approval of Schrader Architects. Schrader has prepared information on what those options at this point look like. So as I said, as we get a little bit further down the road, we'll be looking at scheduling a meeting so that we can have input from the community about what they would like to see occur, and we can present what those various options offer in terms of advantages for both the community as well as the school district. So we should be scheduling that hopefully within the next month or two. 2 other upcoming meetings that I just want to mention. First of all, the Equitable Practices Committee will be meeting this Thursday. I had mentioned this previously, but I just want to send another reminder. Heather Bennett, who is the Director of Equity Services for the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, will be the guest speaker at our meeting before our subcommittees reconvene to meet once again. Heather is originally from Cheltenham, but now works in Harrisburg with PSBA, and she'll be talking about the work that PSBA does and the commitment that they have made to equity as well. So we're all looking very much forward to hearing from Heather and hearing about her experience across the state working with numerous school districts. Coming up on February 27th, we're going to have our first inaugural meeting of the Springfield Township Education Foundation. I'm extraordinarily excited about launching the first Education Foundation in this community to help raise funds in order to support students and staff in their endeavors beyond what we can provide within the realm of the general budget. So I'm extraordinarily excited. We've already had 4 volunteers step forward and volunteer to be the initial directors of the foundation. They have experience in all walks of life, including investment and banking, so I'm extraordinarily excited about that. We have about 15 people who've expressed interest in organizing and running the foundation, and we have a local resident who happens to be a retired attorney with Jeff Sultanic's firm, Fox Rothschild, who's helping us with all of the paperwork necessary to make this a nonprofit organization. So I'm very, very excited. Anyone is invited to attend the meeting, but the first order of business will be appointing those directors and approving our bylaws for the running of the organization. So I'm very happy we're finally going to have an education foundation here in our district. Mr. Rayer, did you want to say something? Yes, I see you're tapping, yes. Okay, Mr. Rayer has a question.
Will there be any board members on the foundation, or can they be or not?
Actually, they can be. This is a community organization, and one board member, Mr. Lapidus, has already volunteered to serve as a director.
Need more? Good.
Anyone can come. We are looking for expertise from anyone in the community. So if that means you're interested, Mr. Rayer.
Mr. Lapis?
Yes.
Mr. Rayer can be counted. Just throwing it out there.
Mrs. Jordan, yes.
Thanks, Will.
Did you
said the meeting was on February 27th. Where and what time?
It is on Wednesday, February 27th. There will be information put in the newspaper, 6:30 PM in the middle school library. And that's where Equitable Practices is on this Thursday as well. And finally, I just want to really commend the students in the Voices of Excellence group here at the high school, along with their sponsor, Mr. Len Thompson, for doing an absolutely outstanding job at their celebratory brunch this past Saturday for the start of Black History Month. The cafeteria was absolutely packed with people. They had a wonderful time. They had tables set up showcasing history and the arts and regalia. I spoke with a lovely woman who came fully dressed in magnificent African dashiki, and it was just wonderful seeing how many people came out to support the students. So we're always happy when anyone supports our students in their endeavors, and I'm hoping that they raised a lot of money through their brunch for scholarships. So that was terrific.
Anybody have any questions at all? Dr. Heck? All right, on to new business. Number 1, personnel. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: certificated personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities, conference and workshop attendance. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Mr. King?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapis. Aye. Mr. Ryer. Aye. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Aye. Dr. Chapman.
Aye. Number 2, We Video. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement between the School District of Springfield Township and We Video for additional schools licenses for a prorated contract from January 1, 2019 through September 19, 2021 in the amount of $956.41. Is there a motion? A second? Any comments or questions?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Ms. Jordan. Mr. Lapis. Mr. Ryer. Ms. Sarsfield. Ms. Lipinski. Dr. Chapman.
Aye. Number 3, separation and release agreement. The Board of School Directors approves the separation and release agreement between employee number 2045 and the Springfield Township Educational Support Personnel Association, STEPSA, and the School District of Springfield Township effective February 5th, 2019. Is there a motion? And a second.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Question. Can you provide some background in terms of what this is?
I can only provide limited background because it is a confidential matter pertaining to an employee, but the board was actually informed about the issues surrounding this employee about 2 years ago when we first entered into, not entered into, but when we were trying to terminate this employee for cause. Mr. Sultanic was involved in those conversations with the board. We felt very strongly that we had just cause for terminating the employee for several different issues that had arisen. The employee fought it, grieved it, and we have been preparing for arbitration and for getting a resolution of this for quite some time. And finally, the ex-employee decided that he was willing to accept a small settlement from the district, and we all agreed that given the extensive legal fees that were required to continue pursuing this, as well as the high fees charged by arbitrators, that it was best to settle. You want to add anything?
Only in executive session.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If board wants an executive session, we can, but absent that, I prefer not to do it publicly.
Is there a feeling that we should have executive session after the board meeting to discuss this? I mean, we could table it.
No.
I No?
Okay, we need to,
We need
we
to
need
move
to act
forward.
on this.
Just for a few minutes? Okay.
Fine.
Okay. All right, we're going
Yes.
to, yep,
Emily can join us.
okay. We're going to take a few minutes to go into executive session to discuss a confidential matter. Thank you. The board was in executive session to discuss a confidential matter related to item 3, separation and release agreement. I'm going to reread the motion. The Board of School Directors approves the separation and release agreement between employee number 2045 and the Springfield Township Educational Support Personnel Association, STEPSA, and the School District of Springfield Township effective February 5th, 2019. Ms. Lipinski made the motion, and Mr. Bedard seconded the motion. We had discussion, and so we should do roll call.
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. No. Mr. Ryer. No. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Aye. Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 4, acceptance of donation. The Board of School Directors accepts a donation in the amount of $1,000 made to the School District of Springfield Township by Shane's Kindness. The donation is to be used to afford student participation in school activities when personal finances are a hardship and might prevent their participation. The fund will be overseen by the business office, who will work in conjunction with student services. Selected staff from Student Services will determine who will be awarded funds from this donation. Is there a motion? And a second? Second. Any comments or questions?
I would just like to make a comment. I would like to thank the Halligan family for their very generous and kind donation. And I also want to thank Mr. King, who wrote the family a really beautiful letter of appreciation.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Mr. King?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Mr. Ryer. Aye. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Aye. Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 5, Lobar Inc., change order. The Board of School Directors approves change order number COGC 002 for Lobar Inc. in the amount of $18,490.54 for the waterproofing Area C wall of the elementary school project as recommended by the Property Committee. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? Mr. King?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Mr. Ryer. Aye. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Aye. Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 6, Blair Corp. change order. The Board of School Directors approves change order number COSC 002 for B. Blair Corporation in the amount of $231,593.10 for changes required by PennDOT for the highway occupancy permit for the high school project as recommended by the Property Committee. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Mr. Ryer. Aye. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Aye. Dr. Taratuski.
Aye. Number 7, Schrader Group Architecture, LLC. The Board of School Directors approves Schrader Group Architecture, LLC as the architect of record for the projected Enfield renovations as recommended by the Property Committee, pending solicitor review. Is there a motion? And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? Mr. Ray?
I have a question, maybe for Property Committee or the administration. Do we consider bidding architectural services for this, and if not, why not?
We did not consider for this project, it's a smaller project. Conversation and the feeling among the administration and the Property Committee is that we were very satisfied with the services that we received from the Schrader Group. as well as they agreed to hold their current rate, which was a lower negotiated rate for the work that they're going to do on Enfield as well.
I also want to add that they've been involved in the beginning since we even did the feasibility study. And I feel like for Synchrony, it was good to just stay with the same group that we've been working with as well. I also just wanted to make one comment, just as a clarification point, that the motion reads Enfield renovations, but what we're actually looking at is the site planning for that location. We are not, renovating that building is really not something that's being considered currently. So I just want to make sure that's clear.
I think that's a really great point of clarification. It is not a motion to approve the architect for renovating the current school building. It's renovations on the site. Thank you, Mrs. Lipin.
I just have a question about Mr. Rayer's question. Would we normally put something like this out to bid? I mean, have we done that in the past where we would request bidding? No?
We're not required to bid
Okay.
these services.
Okay. I was just wondering. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Mr. King?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Ms. Jordan. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Rare. Ms. Sarsfield. Ms. Lipinski. Dr. Terapes.
Aye. Number 8, 422 auction services. The Board of School Directors approves the attached online auction proposal with 422 auction services for the sale by auction of the 10 buses listed, attachment FF. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? Mr. Rea?
Aren't you glad I'm here?
Yes,
It says
we
they
are.
do it for free. So how does the business model work for them? You know, or it's okay if you don't, but just trying to figure out.
Well, they don't charge us, so it's free to us. So
charge the buyers to come. I got you.
They'll add a premium to the.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Mr. King?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Aye. Mr. Rare. Aye. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Aye. Dr. Terapes.
Aye. Number 9, MCIU membership services budget. The Board of School Directors approves the 2019-2020 Montgomery County Intermediate Units membership services budget in the amount of $41,854. Is there a motion? And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? Mr. King?
Mr. Bedard. Aye. Mr. Chapman. Aye. Ms. Jordan. Aye. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Rare. Aye. Ms. Sarsfield. Aye. Ms. Lipinski. Dr. Terapes.
Aye. Any public comments on non-agenda items? Okay. Future meeting dates, there's a school board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 19th at 7 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby, an interim board meeting on Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 at 7 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby, and Thursday is the Equitable Practices Committee at 6:30 p.m. in the library of the middle school. Okay. Thank you, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.